So Ninja Gaiden 2 Black came out recently and the game is pretty difficult for most of the actions game, especially if you're going for the high difficulties. You have completed the game and now you're looking at the tag mission mode and that looks pretty interesting. And then you come to the realization that it is bone-crushingly difficult because the tag missions are by far the hardest challenges this game have to offer. And I'm gonna be upfront with you guys, tag missions do require a lot of luck, especially on the higher end missions, like the one where you can fight all of the greater fiends at the same time. I mean, come on, just tell me what is going on the screen right now. You are juggling 2 life bars and the AI in general, your partner and the enemies can be unpredictable, so things can be a little bit hard. And unfortunately there are some issues that happens as well, where the revive button sometimes just the game doesn't want to give it to you. So today I'm gonna walk you through with some tips that hopefully will make you able to go through some of the harder missions so that you're able to complete them, complete the challenge, or even go for the platinum trophy if you want. So for the vast majority of the missions, you can pretty much pick whatever characters you want and you will have a decent run at it, granted that you have a good handle on the game. I have already made a guide on how to get good at the mechanics and all of that, and recently they did buff Ayane so that she's now a lot more of a viable options. But however, once you get into the Mentor 5, Master Ninja and Ultimate Ninja, Ayane and Momoji are not gonna cut it from my experience, or they're gonna be really difficult to use. At that point, Ryu is very good, and Rachel becomes insane. She is super good at that point for 3 main reasons. The first one is that her AI is surprisingly competent. It deals very well with enemies. She deals a lot of damage. I have seen some folks with strategies where they will hang back and let Rachel deal with the bosses. I mean, you can use that if you want, but yeah, that is a very good partner to have. The AI is solid. Number 2 is Rachel guns. Her projectile is amazing, especially at missions like the Mentor 5, where there is a lot of enemies, a lot of projectile enemies. You can hang back, stay at a distance with Rachel and just gun down everyone, and it works surprisingly well. Call of Rachel is real. And thirdly and most importantly, her ultimate technique is very effective against bosses in the higher end fights, because yeah, it doesn't deal that much damage, but it's very safe. Her guns, her ultimate technique, and just the fact that the AI can handle herself really well and deal a lot of damage means that Rachel is a very safe bet, and you want that because the environment can be very chaotic. I even seen a lot of folks run double Rachel, and that can work in many of the bosses fights, but I still really like Ryu, especially Blade of the Archfiend Ryu, because he's just so versatile and insane versus boss. Blade of the Archfiend Ryu is a boss killer and can be really helpful, especially against bosses like Zidonis, where you will need the iframes, so Ryu is still very valuable pick to have. So for me, this is the dream team for the majority of the missions on the higher end. But even with this team, these missions are still really difficult. So there are a couple of things you can do that will probably ease the process a little bit. The first one is to get comfortable switching between the different characters, and for the most part, because the AI on Rachel is pretty good, I would recommend actually sticking with Ryu as your main playable character and let the AI handle herself with Rachel. She will be good. If you happen to get downed, the thing about the AI partner is that they takes reduced damage, and the AI is really good at reviving you. It will prioritize it every time, and sometimes the game will just mess up your prompt. So switching to the other character to revive the main one is the fastest way to get yourself killed. I will say don't do it unless you're fighting like Elizabeth or some really annoying boss that maybe. But for the most part, the AI will be able to be competent and res you in this situation. This is one of the most annoying things about the mission mode. The other thing is smart use of Ninpo. Ninpo is huge in this. Typically, the mission will go for 3-5 minutes max. So don't be too stingy with spending your Ninpo, and try to use it when there's a lot of enemies on screen, especially a lot of ninjas, because for the most part, it will be able to knock them down, and they will give you a lot of essence, maybe even a blue or a red orb, and that can be really vital. And this is a case where just take it, You will need it, don't waste it on an ultimate technique charge. There will be plenty of time to gun them down with Rachel and have a plethora of essence available, so keep it for yourself now, you need it. It's also at this point where you will need to be really proficient at dealing with bosses and possibly know like the ways that you can cheese them. Like for example Wolf, the fact that you can do the forward hold triangle with the blade of the Archfiend and that will stun lock him, giving you like pretty much a free pass, and especially like on this mission because you will get a chest, you will get blue orbs, so take every assist you can get. Particularly when you're fighting bosses as well, it is important to know which enemy the boss is trying to target. If they're trying to target Ryu, then switch to Rachel and ultimate technique spam them. If they are targeting Rachel, stay close, not too close though, wait for openings and try to punish. This is probably like the best strategy against like Elizabeth, against Genshin, against many of these harder bosses on these harder difficulty missions. One thing that is pretty cool is the fact that you can use the practice mode because the game does have a practice option on these missions where the game will pretty much keeps reviving you when you die, and this can be a really good way for you to practice, especially against like the missions where you have to fight the bosses, especially like Elizabeth, so that you can get like a good strategy going on how you can deal with her. And the best thing about having Rachel on your team is even if you're struggling with the bosses, even if you're not like the best against Elizabeth because she is really hard, you can just cheese her with the ultimate technique. Just stay at a safe distance and keep spamming your ultimate technique until she goes down. And that's why there's a lot of players who like the double Rachel method, because the AI on Rachel can be pretty good. And on the other hand, you are gonna be spamming like the ultimate technique, so you can get it to work out in the end. But that's still like a really dull way to play, if I'm being honest. But hey, these missions are really difficult and you will get all of the help you can get. So it's a cheesy option, but it's there. Double Rachel is secretly goated. But like I said, for some boss fight like Zidonius and others like Elizabeth, having the iframes on Ryu, on the blade of the Archfiend and stuff can be very valuable. And that is about it for the mission mode. There's still a lot of luck involved because how much the enemy eye will go for grabs, how much your partner will deal, will the enemies actually get hit by the tag team Nimbos. There is a lot of factors, there is a lot of randomness to it, so don't fret about it too much. For me personally, although I do like this mode, I do like the missions, like I said, they are still too random for my own taste, and they don't really reflect like the general gameplay from the rest of the game. I've seen some players who will let the partner die and just go solo entirely, and if you're sick, I can see you doing that, but that's really hard, especially when you're fighting like these missions where you have to fight multiple bosses at the same time. That can just be like hellishly difficult. But that's about it. Let me know in the comments if there's specific missions that you have issues with. I will say for the one where you happen to fight all the greater fiends at the same time, target Wolf, he's the easiest to take down, then Alexei, then Zidonius, and then Elizabeth. And also in like the mission where you have to fight Genshin and Elizabeth, go for Genshin first. You can loop him with the Lunar Staff with Ryu, or even just double Rachel is really good on that one as well. So always try to keep Elizabeth for like the last boss, because she's very difficult to deal with solo, and you don't want to have her and another boss on the screen at the same time. Things can get pretty random. Thank you so much for watching and stay safe.